everybody. Welcome to the Dead Money with Dan Orphan podcast. As promised, I am finally going to go over the rather incredible hand history results from the week of May 19th through May 23rd. Had a huge week. I played about 31 and a half hours. I won almost 13,000. Of those 5 sessions, 2 of those wins were over 5,000, which both ended up cracking the top 6 of my all-time biggest lifetime wins at 2.5. And boy, was this due. I mean, if you listen to the shows last year, especially in the last 6 months of the year, just heartbreaking loss after heartbreaking loss. It seemed like every time I played a big pot, I lost it. And that was not the case this week, although not that I sun ran every spot, but a lot of things definitely went my way. So let's get going. Well, first, here's a spot that I screwed up. We got a middle position raise from the hijack. I call the button with 5-4 suited, and we get a squeeze from the big blind. Now, the guy who squeezed the big blind, I think he made it 100. I've mentioned this guy plenty of times. We're going to do another little impersonation of him so all the Las Vegas locals know who I'm talking about, or if anyone has ever come to the Wynn and played with this guy for a little bit, he's someone you'd remember. He sounds a little bit like this. Gets very excited when he wins. I flop set. I check, I know he bet, I go all in, I know he call. I go all in, I know he lay down. Alright, so he squeezes to 100, I guess. Folds back to me, I call. He's been quiet. I mean, this guy can really spaz pre-flop and do some really nutty things, but he can also just be on the opposite end of that spectrum and just be a total rock. So, I'm thinking I'll probably need to make a strong hand to win this hand. The flop comes ace deuce 10 with a heart. He bets 100, I call. Almost folded, which is utterly ridiculous when you have a gut shot to the nuts against a guy who can think you might bluff off to him or he might overplay a hand against you. Plus I got the backdoor flush draw. I turn a heart with the 9 of hearts, and it's a 2-tone board now. And he checks, and I should have just bet right here because he is not going to look to lay any traps on a 2-tone board. If he has a real hand, he's just going to be betting this turn card. So it seems like he's probably giving up. I mean, if he has like kings or queens or something, I mean, he might just check the flop. So I missed a bet here. And then I hit a pair on the river. It's a 4. It misses both flushes. He checks. I just check. I could have bet again, and he has the same hand. He has 5-4 suited as well. And this is a pretty sick river because there was only 1-5 or 1-4 that could hit the river that doesn't bring in a flush, either my flush or the front door flush. And if either of those hit, he's going to lose the pot. Now, if the river is a total brick, he might bet and I might fold, but if he checks, again, I mean, I'm going to bet with 5 high. If we both hit the gin wheel, we know we're both going to split that way. Or if I get really lucky and I hit the flush while he makes his wheel, then he's going to probably lose it all. But yeah, this was a pretty sick river in terms of creating a situation where we're both just going to check and pray that we have some chance of winning. I mean, if the river was a brick, he may have just taken a shot and bet, but who knows? Sometimes he doesn't. We see a lot of players in the 2-5 pool just check down total air balls in spots where they need to give it a shot. I do it sometimes too. So anyway, he 3-bets this hand from the big blind, and then not that long later, I get aces, I raise, he 3-bets, and I know he's got a big hand this time. I 4-bet, he immediately 5-bet all in for like a good 1,100 at least, maybe more. I snap, he's got ace-king off, and I hold. And I know this was a spot where he thinks I'm 3-betting light now, but I have a real hand this time, so he thinks I'm going to be 4-betting him light, which now makes his 5-bet jam good. And it's a total miscalculation. I mean, I would not have 4-bet light here. If I'm 4-betting, I can beat ace-king, and I'm going with it. So it's one of these spots where he thinks he's setting me up, and he's just setting himself up. Because the guy is not that great of a player. He still matches up well with some people, but he's such a spaz now, and he does so much punting that I don't even know if he wins anymore. I mean, maybe. He used to be a big winner when he used to run hot and just all his blah, 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 blah. People would just dump to him. He would just play nitty, and people would just dump to him. Oh, and as soon as I stacked him with the aces, he immediately picked up and went to 5-10. So now I'm going to recap a hand I talked about a couple episodes ago. There's a middle position raise from a pretty tight rig. Button calls, small blind, almost 3-bet, but he called. I had king 9 of hearts in the big blind. Almost squeezed. I did not squeeze. I flop a flush, 2, 3, 4, all hearts. Donk lead the flop. The button calls. The button is this white woman. Turn was nothing. I donk lead again. She calls. The river's an ace. I think the pot was up to about 420-ish. So we got 2, 3, 4, all hearts. Turn, I think, was a 10. Now we got an ace. I got 385. She tanked such a long time and then jams like another 280 on top. Like, such a long tank for not even really that close to a min raise. Kind of expecting to see the nuts. Called, was shown the nuts. It would have been a pretty epic fold there, but it might be a little too dangerous to try something like that. But the truth is, if she had a flush, if the pool has a flush that isn't either the straight flush or the ace-high flush, probably going to raise before the river. For protection, because they think I might have the ace of hearts. I mean, that's just generally how the pool plays. So swinging back and forth here. Win the big pot with aces. Right after that, I lose this cold deck. But then we got this other guy in the game, kind of like a black Santa. Has this very long, shaggy beard. Elder statesman, glasses. He was talking to himself a lot. Saying funny things, though. We got a straddle pot. I got kings in the small blind. He limps in from late position. I think I raised to 70 or 80. He calls for heads up. The flop is 6-4 deuce, 2 diamonds. I check. He bets 140. And I think check raising is actually probably fine here. I mean, you can probably just get away with check raise folding. Because if he 3-bet rips, it's hard to imagine he's going to have one pair or weaker. Nevertheless, I called. I don't love this. I mean, there are a lot of bad turn cards, and we are deep, but I'm also not worried about getting bluffed by this guy. And who knows, maybe he will fold to a check raise, and maybe, this could lead to something good, so it's not like calling is bad, really. Anyway, turn is a 4. Pretty good card, all things considered. Very good card, actually. I check, he bets 325, and now I'm very sure I have him. He probably just has a 6, is my best guess. I mean, I don't think he flopped a joint. I mean, I don't know. I just decided with the sizing. It was big, but it wasn't too big. So I jammed, and he tanked for a while. And the last thing he said before calling was, like, do you think I have a flush draw? So he calls. I forgot what the river was, but I held. So that's the second big pot of the day I won. Big all-in with a big pair. So this brings us into day 2 of this week. I got pocket kings again in the small blind. We got a middle position raise from this nitty regular player. I 3-bet, and he 4-bets the 250, and I'm already getting ready to shoot myself because this guy's very tight. He is not looking to play 4-bet pots without huge hands. Thought about folding, but I know this guy sees me 3-bet a lot, so I was starting to think maybe he could be 4-betting something that isn't aces. But I don't want to 5-bet, so I call. Flop is 8-3-4, 2 diamonds. I check, he bets 275 into 500. And I believe I had a diamond, and once again, I came close to folding. I mean, when these people 4-bet aces, they pick these massive sizes like he did, in position. Some people even go bigger than that. They'll make it like 400. I mean, it's just really, really stupid. But I don't know. I just couldn't let it go. I just could not let it go, and I jammed. And, the scariest second in life is when you jam a hand that could be beat by a nutted hand, and you're going to get snapped if you are. That for fading that first second of, like, not getting snapped is just terrorizing. But okay, all in. Silence. All right. The coast is clear. He's tanking and tanking and tanking for a while, and now I figure he probably has queens. Looked like he was going to call, and then he didn't, so I felt pretty sick about that, not getting a big call. I mean, that always feels shitty. I'm actually not sure that he had queens. I mean, I think he would have called with queens. The way he was talking afterwards, it seemed like he had jacks. And if he did have jacks, then maybe check jamming flop's the best thing I can do, because he's probably just going to check back the turn and then not call a big bet on the river. So all it really does is give him a chance to realize whatever little equity he still has. Now, if he did have jacks, or even if he had queens, I mean, it's not really great to 4-bet in position, because you're telling me you have a huge hand. You're going to make me fold the worst hands. And calling is better. I mean, it keeps you wider. It keeps you a little bit under reps. I mean, he's not going to 4-bet when he has like 6s or like 10-9 suited, so he should flat with these pretty big pairs as well to balance himself and protect himself. And yeah, he's going to get a lot of runouts that have an overcard or two and maybe some other situations that are not going to be fun to be facing barrels against, and he's not going to want to call down, but might feel like he should. You know what? That's what you just got to deal with when you're playing against a player who you perceive as someone who can play, which is, I'm sure, is how he looks at me. So I think maybe he was just thinking, all right, this guy 3-bets a lot. I got jacks. I got to defend myself. I can't just be passive. I'm just going to 4-bet him. I mean, and it just doesn't make any sense. But I don't know that he had jacks. Just seemed like it from the way he was talking. Because if he has queens, he could think that I have jacks and I'm just going with it. But if he has jacks, he could think I have queens and I'm just going with it. And then now the only hand he can beat is tens. And, he might think that he thinks I'm going too thin at that point. So he either had a hand like that, or maybe he was just bluffing with like ace king or something and wasn't playing the barrel off and is just telling this whole story now just to save face. I mean, who knows? Only he does. But you see how close I came to having a real disaster for myself if I had folded this hand. I mean, because I almost folded pre and I almost folded post. And oftentimes it's going to be correct, but I think when you're going up against guys who know you, it's going to be a mistake more often to fold kings. So then I get another big pair. Now I have jacks in the big blind. There's a raise, there's a call. I make it 130. And the guy who raised folded, and the caller called again. Now the caller is our friend. I think it's from episode 6, maybe episode 5 in season 1. He's our friendly recreational player from Boston. He likes to go all in dark. He usually wins when he does. He's the man I'm heads up with. Flop comes 10-3-4, 2 diamonds. Okay, perfect. I bet. He jams. I call. All he had was a 10. So I stacked him. Hooray. Then I played a couple of hands with this nit who sun runs me. He doesn't play at the win very often, but when he does, he sun runs me. He made a huge punt to me a year or two ago where he 3-bet ripped bottom set on the turn in the spot where I had a wheel, and he rivers a boat. His 3-bet jam was terrible because there's no way I'm ever calling him unless I can crush him. Anyway, so I think he limps in. I got queen 9, or maybe he's the big blind. I don't know which. I raise and he check calls a flop of 7-6-4. And it turns another 4. And he check calls 85. And the river's another 6. And he checks again. The guy can have a 6. I can have a 4. It's hard for me to blast this river with an overpair. I mean, it's just such a shitty spot. I just feel like I have to check. But of course, he has the one hand that could have ever possibly folded. Had I bet again, he has pocket 5s. Then I play another pot with him where I got ace-7 suited. I raise 4 ways. Where I raise it and goes 4 ways. The flop comes 8-7-7. I can't possibly lose this hand, right? He check calls 50. The turn is a 6. He checks. And I thought for a while, and I just thought I'm going to get too many worse hands to fold, or I'm just betting into something better. So I checked back. And the river is the 4 of hearts. Backdoor hearts come in, and he leads 100. Now, I know this is a small pot, but I just don't beat anything from this guy. I mean, if he can bet this river, it doesn't matter. Fuck the size of the pot. My hand is now a bluff catcher, and he's probably not bluffing. He's not going to be betting with an 8. I mean, the only thing I can beat is like another 7. Maybe 7-9 or something. I mean, there's not that many of these hands, though. I mean, he could have 7-6. He could have 8-7. He could have 8s. Could have 10-9. I mean, this might be a little bit of a too thin of a hero fold, but I made it anyway. And he seemed frustrated, so who knows. Then I got pocket 7s in the big blind. There's a raise to 15. I call. There's 5 people in the pot. Flop comes 10-7-6. I donk 5 ways. Donk 50 into 75. I got 1 call. The turn is an 8. Perfect. I check. The guy bets 150. Competent enough reg that I just fold. I don't even try to hit the boat because I'm not going to hit it that much, and I don't think I'm going to get paid enough or often enough if I do hit it. And when he goes this size on this turn card, I just think there's no way he doesn't have it. So I just let him have it. Then the guy who I almost folded pocket kings to, he's stuck and he's playing a little off the rails. I mean, he opens the button to 20. I 3-bet to 90 in the small blind with ace queen off. He says, let's try again, and calls. Flop is queen 9 deuce rainbow. I bet 70. He makes it 215. And I think when he does this, this is never going to be a big hand. I just call. I mean, 3-betting is interesting, in case you think he has Jack 10 or something, but I just call. Turn is a 3, and it's like, maybe I should just lead again. I mean, it's just pure explo, but, you wonder if people, maybe they will spaz out. He checks back, the river's a 4, I lead for the pot size, and he folds. I mean, look, to bet call this flop and then just bet the turn, I mean, what am I bluffing with? Absolutely nothing, okay? This is pure explo. This is pure trying to get the guy to either not give him a free card, whether he has a straight draw, or even if he just has 5 outs with a pair, just get value from those hands. I mean, the guy is not going to, capitalize on this in any way. And if he jams, then I'm just going to call him. But, we know how it's like when you get raised on the flop, you're out of position, you call, it's just almost instinctive. You just check the next card. Unless you're drawing to something and you hit it. But unless you're doing that, you almost always check. But maybe it's not necessarily what you have to do. I mean, because you can break the rules in so many different ways in so many different spots when you're playing against people who are just not particularly good. So then a new player sits down. The straddle is on. He limps under the gun. Action gets to the straddle, who's our whale friend from Boston. We'll just call him Boston. Boston raises kind of big. Not insanely big, but fairly big. And then the guy next to me, he shows me what he's folding. He limped ace-king suited and then folds to a raise to 80 after 3 other players limped in. And then the straddle raises. Just limp folds ace-king suited. And it's just okay, I think this is a guy we'll be bluffing from time to time. I mean, that was just unbelievable. Then a big hand comes up with our friend Brent Jenkins. We've had Brent on the show a couple of times. Boston limps in for middle position. I raise to 30 with kings on the button again. Brent 3-bets to 125 out of the big blind. And Boston calls. And Boston only has about 300 left. So we know that whatever he has, he's going with. So I 4-bet to 350. Brent jams 1,500 total. Boston calls off. I call. And Brent has ace-king suited. The flop is queen, queen, 6. Boston's getting ready to leave. Turns another 6. River's another deuce. Boston turns over 8, 6 offsuit. Turns the boat and triples up. Gets this great flop, for me that is, where his 2 pairs already counterfeited. Now he has to hit a 6. Hits the 6 and triples up. But I still stack Brent in the side pot because he was a lot deeper. And when I first saw this, I thought Brent probably shouldn't jam, but thinking more about it, no, I think Brent got really, really fucked in this hand. Because Brent knows that I can 4-bet a lot of hands that are not better than ace-king suited, but can beat the whale's limp range. I mean, he limps, then he cold calls 125 as Brent 3-bets. He's only got a little bit left. Brent and I both know Boston is calling off with this, so I can 4-bet a lot of stuff. I could 4-bet King Jack here. I mean, and I probably would have. I'm not going to be in bad shape. I mean, if Boston had a bad hand, he would have just limp jammed. So, the only thing working against Brent's ace-king suited here is if I am 4-betting a real hand, I will not fold to his jam. If I have 10s, jacks, 9s, I'm just going to live and die with it. Because I know Brent is not going to be unwilling to battle this one all the way to the end. Now, if I have ace-10 suited, I mean, can Brent 5-bet rip ace-5 suited? I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know if he would, but he definitely could. I know he has in the past in other sequences of action. It's rotten luck for Brent that I had this big of a hand. The fact that he has ace-king suited and he's in this bad a shape against my 4-betting call-off range. I mean, the fact that he didn't have at least a flip, that's pretty shitty. I mean, there's a chance that he could have gotten it in really good. I mean, because, if I 4-bet ace-queen, I mean, and then Brent rips, I might be inclined to call thinking that he could have, just a ace-wheel suited. So I think Brent's jam is fine. I think that he just got really set up here. And then Boston went on a run after this because he was down to just a few hundred, and I don't know what he left with, but he left with a shitload because then he gets an all-in with Brent. Brent has him crushed. Boston has pocket 3s and turns a 3. And then a little while after that, Boston gets it all in with Brent, and Boston has aces. I had raised to 20 with jacks. I think I had jacks consecutive hands. Brent 3-bet to 50. and Boston jams 1600. And I've seen Boston do this with like ace king, ace queen type hands a lot. And I thought about going with it myself. But I don't know. I just had a weird feeling about it this time, so I folded. Brent called pretty fast. I don't know what Brent had. He said, you deserve the action. So Brent may have been a little tilted by this point. I mean, losing the hand to me and then losing ace-king suited, stacking off to me when I have kings in a spot where he got bent over and then he takes a bad beat when Boston has threes. Now he runs into this shit. I mean, it was just bam, bam, bam. It was a tough day for Brent. And before Boston really ran it up, I mean, I'm telling some of this out of order. There was a spot where he was the button, I was the big blind, and he claimed that if everyone folded to him, that he would shove in the dark. But someone opened in middle position from some nitty player, so Boston looked at his hand, and I had ace-5 off. I ended up folding, and Boston had ace-10 off on the button. So lucky for me, there was a raise leading up to him, because if it folds to him, he's shoving dark on the button. I'm snap calling ace-5 offsuit, and he's just going to have me crushed again, and he would have won again. But all right, running pretty good today, so that didn't happen. I just talked about a spot where I had jacks 2 hands in a row, where I mentioned the second one first, so let me go back and tell you what the first one was. Boston raised to 15, I 3-bet to 55. There's a couple calls in there, including Boston. Flop comes ace-10-6, 2 diamonds. We all check. Turn is the jack of diamonds. So straight gets there, flush gets there, but I have a set. Boston check calls 50. River's a 4. Boston check calls 160. Set is good. Now Boston, I mean, he's a huge whale pre-flop, but as I said in the other episode I talked about him, I mean, his post-flop play is oftentimes pretty competent. I mean, he when he's trying harder, he plays all right. He can make good folds. He can make good thin value bets. Doesn't overvalue hands. He just doesn't want to try that hard. That's really what it comes down to. So then we have another early position raise over a limp to 25. Boston calls. I 3-bet to 110 with ace-5 suited on the button. Both players call. And then this got this shocking flop, 5-5-4 rainbow. They check to me. I mean, I almost checked. I mean, and I froze when I saw this flop because holy shit, I 3-bet ace-5 suited and I got a flop of 5-5-4 against 2 guys who were deep. They check, and I should just bet like 200. I mean, because the overpairs are not folding. The hands that whiffed are folding to any size. So you might as well just go bigger. But just sometimes when you get into these spots, you're just like shocked by the potential gold mine you might win. You don't even know what to do. I bet 75 into 330. This is so fucking stupid. The original raiser calls. Boston folds. Turns to 7 of diamonds. The pot is 480 now, I guess. And he check calls 300. This size, I think, is, pretty much okay. The river sucked. It was a king because now, obviously, I could have ace king now, but the flush missed. He checked. And this guy was telling me how he has been listening to my podcast, and I started to worry that he knows that I lean towards going very big when I'm bluffing in a lot of spots. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And all the same, I don't feel like I should try to hit a home run for value because people fold too much, which is why I bluff those sizes. I should just go like 400 or 500 here and try and get a crying call out of something. Of course, going 400 or 500, I mean, that's a much wider value range where I could be trying to own them with queens or jacks or something. But I ended up going 975 into about 1100. I mean, it's not an overbet. And he tanked for a while, and he folded. I mean, he probably had like 9s. That's my guess. But yeah, I think maybe the size was just a little bit too scary for him. Not that he's not willing to call that size, but just in this spot, I think the size might have seemed a little bit too strong. And we know that I can have aces, ace king, I mean, blah, blah, blah. I think betting 400 or 500 would be better. I mean, it's when you get these huge hands, we know how big the hand is and we know what it's worth to me, but you have to figure out what is this spot worth to your opponent. When you go really big for value, it's because you have a big hand and you think your opponent's range and the way they play that this hand is worth a lot to them. But if you're against a guy who can fold, and you're against a guy who doesn't have that strong of a range at this point, even when you have a huge hand, you can't get away with betting huge because the hand that you're trying to get called by is not going to be worth that much to your opponent. So you're betting, this is like what they say, you're not playing your hand, you're playing their hand. So going this big here was a mistake. Then I get pocket kings in the small blind. There's a couple limps. There's a raise to 25. I make it 110. The raiser calls. I think it was the same guy I had just beaten with ace-5. Flop is 10-3-5, 2 clubs, and I threw in a check. He checks. Turn is the queen of diamonds. There's 2 diamonds. I bet 175 now. He calls. And the river is another queen. And it's the 3rd club. So there just doesn't seem to be anything to gain here by betting. I'm either getting called by a queen, called by a flush, and getting the missed diamond draws to fold. So I check and he checks back. And if he had bet, I don't know. I may have called. I mean, it just depends. We don't know what size he's going to pick. Then I get pocket 10s. Go 3 ways. I raise. Flop comes king, 10, 10. So all right, quads. That works. No action on the flop. Turn was a jack. I bet a quarter of the pot and neither player called. Jesus. Neither of you fucking guys hit any of that? Okay. That brings us to day 3. So that was the first 5K win, if you didn't figure it out. We got a very fishy game. I've been showing up in the morning. I think I came in early all 5 of these sessions. We got a middle position raise to 15. There's a call or 2. I flat 8-7 of diamonds in the small blind. I mean, I think in hindsight, maybe I should have 3-bet this anyway, but I'm just looking to flat these types of hands in the small blind a little more often when the fish are the ones who are raising, because they're probably not falling to a 3-bet unless you freaking pile it. But I don't want to pile it. I mean, his opening size could be anything, so piling just seems a little unnecessary. I mean, the hand can still play well post flop. I mean, you're out of position, but you're in a lot of fish. I don't expect to make too many mistakes, so I flatted. I don't love it, but that's what I did. Flop comes 9-8 deuce, 2 spades and a heart. So, and this is what you usually get. I mean, you don't flop the fucking straight flush that often. So everybody checks. Now, I love that because a lot of the checks came after the pre-flop raiser. Like, I checked to him. There was one other check. He checks, and 2 guys check behind him. And whenever people check behind the pre-flop raiser on the flop, that caps the shit out of them. The people who check to the pre-flop raiser, yeah, they're uncapped. But if the people are checking after the pre-flop raiser, they're almost always going to have a very weak hand. So the turn is a deuce. Now there's 2 hearts. And I bet 60. The big blind is the only guy I'm really going up against. He's the only one who's uncapped. He calls. He's the one guy I'm afraid of. But then there's another call, and then there's another call, and then the in-position player on this 5-way situation, he jams. It was like another 275. 9-8 deuce deuce. And there's just no way I can call here with all these other players in. I mean, yeah, other players could be drawing, but I'm just never going to be dominating the spot. He could have a deuce. The guy was a fish, so the guy can have a deuce. I fold. A couple guys call. This hand is just going nuts. The river is the 6 of hearts, so backdoor flush hits, and there was no action on the river, and the in-position player has 9-8 offsuit. Okay, so let's just recap all this. There's a race of 15. He calls with 9-8 off. He has like $300-400 when the hand starts. The flop is 9-8 deuce, 2 spades and a heart. There are 5 players. He is the in-position player. Everybody checks over to him. He checks top 2 pair here. And then the turn is a deuce. And there's a bet, there's a couple calls in front of him, and now he jams. And he just gets the max, and it's just like, what are the fucking odds of someone having that hand? I mean, you flop top 2 pair. You have a draw-heavy board. You have 4 other players to beat. And you have top 2 pair in position, and you just sit there and check. I mean, it's like one in a fucking... God. Then he gets a bet out of me on the turn. Unbelievable. I mean, look, I didn't lose that big of a pot. I just couldn't believe what I saw. You probably can't believe what you're hearing. So not a lot happened in this session, but there was one more hand. I got queen 10 of diamonds. There's a straddle on, a couple limps. I make it 75. They go 3 ways. One of the guys in there is a maniac who had a 4-bet bluff me before. I mean, this guy likes to 4-bet bluff. He made it 20. I made it 65 with 5s. He made it like 240, and he shows me 6-4 diamonds. I mean, when I 3-bet him, I knew I was like asking for trouble when I did that, but Anyway, he's winning, so he doesn't seem to be playing as nutty. He gets very tilted and spewy and punts and does all kinds of wacky shit when he's losing, but if he's winning, he's a lot calmer. He's not a total nit, but he's definitely not a maniac, or he's not as maniacal. Flop comes queen 9-6, 2 clubs. Checks over to me. I was just telling you how he's not that aggressive in these spots, but he can still get aggressive. I check back, top pair. I mean, look, there's a lot of bad turn cards, and, this is not like, a hand that can't lose. But I check back in position to throw in a trap against this guy, because I know that on cleaner runouts, he's going to start barreling a lot. But this attempt at trapping with top pair immediately backfires because the turn is an ace, and it's a club. I mean, there's no action on the flop, so you have no reason to think anyone has a flush draw, but someone could obviously still have one. They check to me. Now I got to check back. The river is another club. 4 clubs, 7 of clubs. They check to me again, and I think the pot had maybe like 250, 300, including the dead money. And I've been looking for spots like this where I can overbet the river on 4 flush boards because no one is ever, ever, ever checking the ace. They never do it. They never, ever do it. And if someone had like either a king or jack high flush draw here, I think they probably bet that too. But I lose to an ace, I lose to any club, so I bet 485 and they both fold fast. And this brings us to Friday, day 4. First, we get a 4-way all-in with other players. I mean, this game was just off the rails. I think 3 players put 625 in pre-flop. A woman was all in. She had less. I think she had about 480. So we got well over 2K in the main pot. We have an empty side pot. And the flop is 683. And the 2 guys remaining, one guy jams. He gets snap called. And the guy who jammed 683 flop had pocket 9s, got snap called by pocket 5s. And pocket 9s held because the other 2 players all in was ace-jack offsuit and ace-5 suited. So it was one of these spots where 3 out of the 4 hands are all sharing cards and helping dominate each other, giving pocket 9s that much more of a chance to hold, and then it held. But who cares what the action was? We got 4 players going all in pre. 9s, 5s, ace-jack offsuit, ace-5 suited. And then we got a 683 flop. We got pocket 9s open jamming and getting snapped by pocket 5s. And I'm just sitting there watching the first hour. I mean, I was card dead, just watching these fireworks go off from every direction. But then finally I got pocket queens against the fish. I had raised, there was a call, he 3-bet. I 4-bet to put him all in, and he called off with ace-10 suited, ace in the window. So that was like a $1,000 pot. Then a little bit after that, the guy who had stacked off with pocket 5s, I mean, he turned out to be a real station. I get king-queen suited in a straddled pot. I raise to 40, it goes 4 ways. It comes jack 7 deuce rainbow with 1 spade. They check to me. I bet 65. And the station fish, pocket 5s maniac, he calls in the small blind. We're heads up. The turn is the 4 of spades. He checks again. I'm not convinced that king queen suited is beat at this point. I mean, I bet 250. He calls. And even though this guy is a huge station, he's already made some big payoffs and he's lost every time. I started thinking, I showed pocket queens and another all-in. This guy's been losing left and right. If I jam the river, he might fold a pair. I mean, he might finally fold one time. Even the biggest stations in the world, they do one day at some point in their life eventually fold. It might not have been today, but they do eventually do it. But I didn't have to bluff him on the river because I backdoored the flush. Came with the 8 of spades, and he checks again. Now, the pot had, at this point, probably 750, 800, and maybe I should have gone a little bigger because he's such a fucking station, but I want to make sure I get called. And I know he's going to be calling with a lot of, like, really bad hands, so I bet 550. And he calls, but damn, he had the best hand he'd had all day. He had jack 10, he had top pair, and I backdoored this. I mean, look, I got a ton of outs. If an ace comes and I rip, he's probably folding to that. I mean, if that 8 were not a spade and he just has a pure top pair, and I'm not saying he wouldn't have called me. I'm not saying he wouldn't have called the shove. I'm just saying I still might have taken the chance. Because when you go all in, when you're overbet jamming, that just sometimes throws a shock into people's systems, and they just don't know what to make of it. I mean, the whole essence of the overbet is to brain fuck people, and they just short circuit and they fold because they think that you're not going to be doing that unless you have it. So it's like I finally play a pot that I win, and I'm already like, oh, wow, nice catch, brother. Oh, that's so gross. It's not that fucking gross. I had king queen suited against jack 10. I got all these back doors. I turn one and I hit one. Jesus. They made it sound like I backdoored a straight flush against a set of aces or something. Please. But all right. Now I have something of a bluffing image, I guess. I raise to 20 with queen jack off. It goes 4 ways. The flop comes jack 3, 2 diamonds. And the big blind, he's the guy I doubled up with pocket queens when he had ace-10 suited. He donks 50 into 3 players. I raise to 150. Other players fold. He calls. Before he calls, he's like, what do you got, high cards? He's like, I can beat you if I got that. Turns a 7. He checks. And, I want to stack the guy with this hand. I think I can, but I just can't go too big. So I bet 250, giving him the dilemma of maybe he'll jam himself, which he does. Snap call, and he's only got pocket 10s. So we have a multi-way pot, 4-way pot. He closes the action with big blind with pocket 10s, which number one, he doesn't have to do that. He can definitely 3-bet if he wants. But he gets this flop, jack 3, 2 diamonds. He's out of position against 3 players. He donks this flop with pocket 10s. And then he calls the raise, and he just stacks off on the turn because of what he saw me do earlier. Now, it feels good when you double up a guy and then stack him. It feels like it was a moot point that you doubled him before. I mean, not really. I mean, because someone else could have taken his seat. I mean, he won that $1,000 all in with ace-10 suited. I mean, he may have rebought, right? And then I could stack him again anyway. Or maybe someone else takes his seat and I stack that player. So I still lost $1,000 pot all in against him. So I don't think of it as such as like, oh, well, it doesn't matter anymore because I stacked him anyway. No, that's irrelevant. Then the straddle is on. There's an early position limp. He calls 55. I have queens. It comes 9-5 deuce, 2 spades. And he check raises 85 to 200. And I thought about 3-bet ripping, but it would have been such a massive overstuff. But I just, for some reason, didn't think that I can just 3-bet to like 500 or something, or 600. Like, I don't have to jam. If I'm 3-betting, I'm going with it. If I 3-bet to 550, 600 and he rips, I'm calling. I'm not 3-bet folding this. But for some reason, I was like thinking like I have to either call or shove, and I just didn't really want to shove. But this is not that big of a raise, and if he flopped a huge hand against me, a huge made hand, I think he's going to go much bigger than 200. But I just called, all right, let's just see what develops. There's a lot of bad turn cards. The turn is an 8. He bets 300. He bets about 3/5 pot, a little less. He's got 800 back, and I felt at this point that queens are good. I jammed his last 800 in, and he painfully folded. And then later he said he had a combo draw. So who knows what that last card was? I mean, when you're running good, you save money in a lot of spots where you don't even know it. Like, what if we had gotten it all in on the flop and he just hits the river? And because I'm running good today, instead I get another bet from him on the turn and then make him fold his hand. I mean, if I had 3-bet the flop to say 500-600, he probably calls and then maybe check folds to the jam on the turn. I mean, he put the money in for me on the turn, but that's being results oriented. I mean, I think I should have just 3-bet the freaking flop. And look, maybe I would have stacked him. I mean, if I 3-bet called off on the flop, maybe if he just sticks it in there with a combo draw with like 6-3 or 6-4 or something. I mean, I don't know which combo draw he had, but when he limp calls, it seems like he could have 6-3 or 6-4 because it was 9-5 deuce 8. Maybe it could have been 4-3. That's a definite possibility. I think he would have raised with his suited aces pre. But yeah, I don't think I played this one perfectly, and, maybe I had a chance to stack the guy. But I'm going to just tell myself that he would have gotten there on the river. So now I got 8-7 of diamonds. We got another straddle on. I'm on the button. There's a raise to 50. I call. The big fish calls, the one who calls everyone, the one I backdoor the flush with against king-queen. Flop comes ace-queen 6, 2 diamonds. The original raiser, he bets half pot, bets 75. We both call. Turn is a 4. I pick up a gut shot to the nut straight. He bets 400. And the guy who bet 400, this is the maniac I was mentioning from before. The guy who 4-bet me with 6-4 suited and can play really, really nuts. Hasn't done anything too nutty yet because so far nothing has gone against him. Sucks. I mean, this is just the perfect size against my exact hand. I mean, I'm not getting the correct expressed odds, but if I hit the 5, this guy's probably going to go broke because this guy thinks I'm aggressive, and if I hit the 5, I mean, he's going to either bet big on the river and probably call a jam. Maybe he'll jam himself. If he checks, he's not going to fold because I didn't think he was bluffing at all this time when he went this size on the turn against 2 players. If I hit the diamond, I mean, I don't have to get a huge call on the river. I mean, I'm not going to go too massive because it's going to be kind of obvious that I have it. I mean, hard to not think I have it. He calls the 400, other guy folds. I brick. He jams. I fold. And then after that, he's like saying, diamonds, diamonds. Not really taunting me, just, I don't know, figured I had a flush draw. He was right. I missed. Which leads us to the highlight hand of the week. We got some new players. We got some deep stacks. We have an under-the-gun limp from our man who just jammed the river against me. From our man who likes to play crazy sometimes, but playing normal at this point. He limps. I got aces. I make it 25. The button 3-bets to 100, and he's deep. And then it gets back to the under-the-gun limper, our crazy friend, who's about 2,500 deep, but not playing crazy yet. Now he limp 4-bets to 400. Wow. Now the button has about 1,500 or less. I got more than 2,500, and it's like, what do I do here? I mean, I thought about jamming, but I don't want to jam. I think that this guy is not bluffing, but I think he won't fold to a 5-bet. I mean, I thought about calling too. And, the whole table's looking up now. I decided to 5-bet to 875. The button snap shoves. Under the gun snap shoves. Wow. I assume I'm up against aces and kings. I'm praying they both have kings. You know what they had? The button has kings. And the under the gun. What kind of a mental demented meltdown was this? Ace king suited. He snapped 7-bet shoves. 500 big blinds total with ace king suited. I'm 78% against both of these hands. We got a side pot against ace king suited. The flop is jack 8 deuce rainbow. The turn was nothing. That locks up the side pot. Ace king suited flopped only one club. Only one king now on the river. Did I could lose anything? Nothing. Stack both of them. This pot was like, I don't know, 6K, 6,600? I'm not sure. But holy shit. And afterwards, the guy with ace king suited, he commended me. He said, nice hand, you deserve it every penny. I mean, I think what he means by that is he thinks I play aggressive enough that I deserve to get the money in this spot, or if he just respects my play. Whatever it is, it's obviously a compliment. But my goodness, I mean, poker just has this funny way sometimes of justifying itself to you, all the bad shit it's put you through. Sometimes it has this funny way of making itself up to you in one day. Sometimes it makes itself up to you in one pot. I mean, yes, we know this is a total setup. We know that this is crazy, but really neither player needed to stack off here. Ace king suited, I mean, I told you the guy is crazy. And that even though when he's winning, he plays kind of normal. I mean, he's not as crazy, but he could still, obviously we see he's capable of it at all times. He didn't rebuy after that. He 7-bet shoved ace king suited after limp 4-betting to 400. I 5-bet to 875. This other guy 6-bets all into 1500. What does he think is going to happen? What does he think is going on here? What kind of games is this guy playing when he's not in Vegas? Because I don't know where he's from. And after the guy with kings stacks off, another player just won't give him any break whatsoever. He's just like, why? He's like, I can't believe you didn't fold that. He's like, I fold pocket kings all the time. This is coming from a fish, by the way. And yes, when there's a 5-bet pre-flop to 875 after following an under-the-gun limp 4-bet to 400, and now the open raise are 5-bets. Yeah, pocket kings isn't looking so good here. I know I probably would have gotten away from it. I think a lot of people would have, actually, because if there's ever a time where it's obvious, I mean, this is it. But he was one of those guys. He's got kings, and he's just going with it, and if he's beat, he doesn't care. He'd rather have the story. Well, he got the story. But ace-king suited, I mean, wow. I talk about this, I'm going to try and express it again. I'm telling you, there's all these little invisible floating numbers around the table, people, and when you make good decisions that have a quality intrinsic value, it leads to things like this. Like, this is what happens. It causes this cataclysmic response because you got your energy bouncing off of other people. They think you're thinking this, they think you're thinking that, and it just causes them to make mistakes, and one day somebody just has a blow up. I mean, look, I think what happens sometimes is people think because you bluff in this spot or that spot that you could be bluffing in this spot too. No. People, I am just like you when it comes to these 4, 5, 6-bet all-ins, all right? All you guys ever have is aces and kings, so that's all I ever have. That's the only hand I can have. Ace-king suited, 7-bet shoves. How many times have you seen that? I mean, imagine if you gave me the ace-king suited, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to raise under the gun, ace is going to 3-bet, king's probably going to cold 4-bet, and I fold. I lose $20. Not 2,500, just 20. Not 3 zeros, not 2 zeros, 1 0. 20. That's where it ends. Or suppose I had the kings on the button. And let's say it plays out this way. Limp, 25, I 3-bet. Now there's a limp 4-bet. And then there's a 5-bet. I'm just going to fold kings. I mean, what the fuck? I just said it already. If there's ever a time it's easy, this is it. But oh my goodness. I mean, I'm like 7,500 deep now. Or 7,000 deep. I think I was like 7,000 deep after this hand. I mean, and look, when I won the pot, I think I stood up to watch this all in, but I didn't say anything. I didn't even smile. I mean, when we play these huge hands, when we win, I feel like we don't even feel joy or happiness. We just feel relief. We're just glad that we finally fucking won, I mean, this hand is 78% against 2 hands. It's not amazing, but pretty good going up against 2 hands. We're all sharing each other's outs. But how often does the story end like this, right? You got the perfect setup, aces versus kings and ace-king suited. Doesn't this set up well, perfectly well, to set up end tragically, where the aces lose? But damn. I mean, this first hour and a half of the game, I was totally card-deaded in this total wild game, and now all of a sudden, bam, a couple hours, things went totally crazy. So then the next spot that comes after that, I mean, you're just sort of, even when you're having the big upswings, those take a lot out of you too. You just kind of want to catch your breath. So a short while later, I get ace-6 of hearts. There's a limp. I raise to 25. The guy who lost to the kings, he calls in the small blind. Another player calls. Comes 7-6 deuce, 2 spades, so I didn't catch too much. But they both check call 35. Turns the 5 of clubs, and the small blind checks. And now the other player, he like donks like 50 into like 175. And he only had like 350, 400 left, and I'm just worried he could just have a 7 and call off with it. I have so few ways to improve. I don't know. I mean, I thought about just putting him all in, but the small blind is uncapped. I mean, I don't know. I just called. They both called. I mean, the small blind called. So we go 3 ways to the river. Pot has like 330. The turn is a 10. They all check to me. I check. And the small blind had jack 10 of spades. So he flopped a flush draw. Turn nothing. River top pair and 1. I mean, who knows what the other guy had? Who knows if he was going to go with it? I don't know. I feel like I misplayed this spot too. I felt like I just should have taken a chance, raise turn, and just deal with any blow-ups if they follow. A little while later, I get jack 10 suited. There's a late position raise to 15. I 3-bet to 50, and the big blind cold calls to 50. We go heads up. And the big blind is this elder statesman white man. Looks like he's in his 60s. He's been playing fairly tight. He hasn't been there that long, but he's playing fairly tight. Flop comes queen 7-3, 2 spades. He check calls 60. Turn is an 8, so now I have the gut shot. He checks, and I overbet because I can't bet fold. I have to bet call. I cannot afford to not see the river, unless he folds, of course. That'll work. I bet 425. He jams. It's like 825 total. Gotta call it. River's an ace. I miss. And he's shaking his head as he turns his hand over. He's got queens and 8s. He's got queen 8 suited. You ever wonder what comes over people sometimes? It's like you see them playing. It appears that they're playing kind of tight, but like they're not necessarily because queen 8 suited, raising a 3-bet in front of me. Perfect. Let's see a flop. Perfect. Top pair. Let's call. Perfect. Top 2 pair. Now I get to go with it. I mean, just what a sequence of events. The guy was probably so proud of himself for like, oh, he trapped me. I mean, it's like if that turn was an ace instead of on the river, because the ace would have given me the same hand. I mean, I still have the flush draw. Now I have a gut shot to the nuts. My hand improves in the same manner. He's probably just going to fold to the ace. Instead, he gets the 8, which gives me all this extra incentive to bet. Doesn't give me the flush. I'm not going to be betting a turn card if it's a queen. I mean, it's just this is how perfect it has to be. And these people feel so smart after the fact, and they have no idea just how much they lost in equity and just how lucky they got. So, okay. You got it, buddy. And then right after that, I mean, I'm having this huge day, but like that hand is fucking sucks. I just lost like 900 or a grand in this hand or something like that. I mean, that fucking sucks. This was fucking nasty. And just because I'm winning a lot doesn't mean I'm like gonna, what am I, a rich man now? I can retire? No. So then I get pocket kings. I raise to 25 with no one in there. We go 4 ways. Flop comes king, queen, deuce, 2 diamonds. And there's a donk bet to 45. And with 2 players behind me, I could probably raise a little bigger, but I'm in raise to 90 because I think the draws are still going to call these sizes, but I don't want to go too big because I don't want them to fold. I mean, you just don't want them to hit. But then I get one cold caller by a guy who was just bluffed. And then the guy who bet 45, min raise, call in front of him, he can't call a min raise. He folds. What the fuck did he dunk with? Like just a queen? Just like queen 7, just a hand that is just dead at this point. I mean, that was crazy. Turns a jack of hearts, 2-tone board. King, queen, deuce, jack, 2 diamonds. Now there's 2 hearts. So pot has about 325. I overbet this. I bet 475 because I expect him to either go with hands that are 2 pair or, obviously hands that beat me. Not folding to those hands, of course. And this turn should give him a lot of outs, though. Like a lot of like maybe 14, 15 outers, 13 outers, hands like that. I don't expect him to fold. He calls. The river is a 7. He has very little left. He has like 250, 300. I mean, I didn't want to jam him in on the turn, but I thought he might call a size like this. And he folds. So he probably had like, I don't know, maybe jack 10 or something. Maybe he had diamonds with just a jack. Knows that he can't possibly be good now. And all right, so he didn't just literally completely torch the last 250, 300. So I think I sized up that spot correctly. Not that you have to be a genius to do so. I had a spot where I had ace-king of clubs. There was a raise to 15 and a call, and I 3-bet the small blind to 100. The raiser called. He was a new face. Flop was queen 8-3, two clubs. I bet 80 and he called. The turn was a 4, so the pot's got about 375. I jammed 2x the pot and he snap folded. And you got to remember, when you have these types of hands, 2 overs and a flush draw, if all your outs are live, I mean, you're going to have about 33% on the river or 30%. If he has one of your outs, maybe only 25. All this means, though, is you just got to get him to fold about 30-ish% of the time. If he folds 30% of the time, you're making money because you're going to hit on the river sometimes. You never hit it, but technically you're supposed to think you will, and someone else will hit it. But, like, you know you're never going to get there, but you can pretend you will. So technically you're not incorrect to say if you just get him to fold 30% of the time, then, you're making money. Last hand from this day played out like this. Game was tightening up. The fish were leaving. Regs were replacing them. I got king jack offsuit under the gun. I mean, I mix playing this hand. I've been folding it more often lately. I said, fuck it, I raised to 20. It gets to the big blind. It's our friend I mentioned earlier in the day. I flop set. It's him again. He flats the big blind. And it comes king 7 deuce. And he check calls 15. And the turn is a queen. And he see me overbet bluff a lot in these spots where I go like 1.5x. I try that again. I'm not sure if I should, but I do. He check calls 110. And I thought about betting the river. The river was a 9, so now the hand that I'm like potentially bluffing with just got there, and I have a blocker to it on top of it. He checked. I wasn't going to bet big, though, as a bluff, because I don't know. I didn't think I should bluff him once he calls the turn. And I just didn't think I could get called by worse at this point. I mean, I didn't want to bet small. I just checked. You know what he had? Aces. What? I have just raised under the gun. I have more calls against a 3-bet than from any other spot, and he just flats aces from the big blind, and he like slams them over proudly when he turns them over, like ha ha ha. I mean, I would have folded to his 3-bet pre this time with this hand, and I'm gonna have plenty of hands that will fold. I mean, I'm gonna fold ace jack off, ace queen off. There are a lot of hands that I'm gonna fold, but I'm not folding any of my pairs. I'm not folding ace king. I mean, he flats in this hand when I have more calls than I have from any other spot when I'm opening. It's just so stupid. And then he gets the perfect flop. He gets a king high flop. King 7 deuce. You could not have drawn this up any better for him. Then when he faces this 1.5x overbet on the turn, and I'm not even sure if I should have done that with king jack, but I did. I mean, he's got to be thinking, what the hell's going on now? Like, do I have kings and queens, or am I bluffing? I mean, after that, I was just like, all right, I'm out of here. So another 5K win. 2 in the last 3 days. That brings us to day 5 of this week. This was a Saturday, got there in the morning. Game's really good. Not a lot happened in this day. The most interesting spot was I had ace-queen off, and the straddle was on. I raised to 30. There were 2 calls, and the straddle only made it 130. And the straddler is a reg from back in the day. He used to play really deep when the win was uncapped at 510 and 1020. This Asian guy. I mean, he's a guy I've been playing with a lot, and as far as I know, I think he always has thought that I'm on the tighter side, so when he 3-bets to just 130, I mean, I think he knows that this is not the right size for a big hand, so I just did not think he had that big of a hand, so I 4-bet to 400. He calls, so the pot's got, 830-ish, I guess, and the flop comes jack 5-3, 2 spades. He checks. I have the queen of spades. I mean, I just felt like, I know what solvers say to do in 4-bet pots. I mean, I just felt like betting small is not going to do anything for me here. It's just going to lower the SPR, and it's just going to make him easier for him to continue. So I just jammed right here and now. I just jammed 1,000, and he didn't think for that long, and he folded. So I don't know. I mean, he could have had the same hand. Ace queen suited, meaning slightly. I don't know. Maybe he had ace king. Maybe he had tens. I don't know. That whole thing was weird. Then I got into another spot where I 4-bet bluffed pre. I mean, I raised to 20 with 9-7 and the suited, the button called, and the small blind made it 60. I don't even remember what I 4-bet to. It was something probably around 275-ish. No one called. I mean, I hardly ever 4-bet bluff, but when I do, it's usually for this reason. It's when people 3-bet with these pussy sizes. And I mentioned this in the last episode. If you're going to 4-bet bluff, I think you got to go really, really big, because people they don't 3-bet that much. And once they've been 4-bet, they feel like they shouldn't fold because they already 3-bet. They just don't like folding to the 4-bet. So they might be getting to the flop with a better hand than you, and they're not doing it for the right reason, but nevertheless, they're in a better spot than you are. You're out of position and you're beat. So I think the only thing to do as an explo is to just 4-bet huge. Just 4-bet to something that's ridiculously huge. And if you're wrong, then you're wrong. At least you don't have to stack off post-flop. Because if the guy does have aces, he's just going to 5-bet rip. Now, if you 4-bet to a normal size, he's going to 5-bet over that too, so you would have saved. But you're not worried about the times he has aces. You're trying to make him fold the ace-jack suiteds, the king-queen suiteds, the ace-queen offs, the times where they actually do show up and 3-bet these hands. Or pocket nines or pocket tens, where they're like, oh, this hand's good, but it's not great, so I'll 3-bet, but I won't 3-bet to the size I would if I have aces or kings. You know, a lot of people use this linear approach when it comes to 3-betting, and it's just a gigantic mistake. If you're going to 3-bet, you got to 3-bet to whatever size you're using with any of these hands. Unless it's specifically exploiting a certain player. But a lot of players aren't doing that. There's just a linear approach. Like, oh, I 3-bet huge when I have a huge hand. I 3-bet medium when I have a medium hand. It's like, no, that makes no sense. So if you 4-bet huge, you know, if when you go really big, and normally they might continue because they think, oh, well, I can't fold to this 4-bet. I already 3-bet. But if you make it massive, then maybe they will. And another spot came up where I should have fucking 4-bet. I mean, I raised to 20 with 9-8 of hearts. There's 2 calls. There's a 3-bet to 75, and it's from this dummy-looking player. He should be going at least 100 when he's in position on both of us. When he only makes it 75, once again, I think it's just one of these stupid hands. One of these pretty good starting hands that is just using a linear approach and should be 3-betting much, much bigger. And when he uses this size, he's begging to get 4-bet. I should have made it 400. I mean, I almost folded because, 9-8 suited is not playing well to 3-bets when it's out of position, but it's against this weak player. There's other fish in the pot. I call. I mean, it's so fucking terrible. I hate it. And I don't even remember what the flop was. I didn't flop anything good, and then the middle position player donk bet, and the 3-better folded. And the middle position player wasn't that deep. There's nothing for me to get creative with. I just have to passively fold. It's bad. So, this was a day where I 4-bet bluff twice in one day. I mean, and I should have done it at least 3 times, and there may have even been other spots that I just don't remember about. But, alright. You heard the hands now. Wild week. Huge week. Felt good. World Series of Poker is here. Started about a week after these hands, so I'm going to get back out there soon, and we'll talk to you again. See you next time, guys. Thanks.